Hi guys, welcome back. And if you didn't guess already, this video is another Let's Not Me. I am literally obsessed with this subreddit. So I'll read a short one, then a fairly long one, and then we might read a medium one. Okay, we'll go straight into it. Just a disclaimer, some of these might be sort of scary if you're a younger viewer, but normally they're just fine for normal watching. So let's get into the first one. It's called Silent Prom Night Killer. This is a short one, so let's get into it. So back in high school, I was rather shy girl. This was during/after the recession, and my family had gotten a bit tight with money. Usually I didn't eat lunch and I had to hide the fact that from the staff at the school, so I studied in the library or sat outside on the field behind the school for lunch. Rarely had I ever eaten or sat in the lunchroom. As the school year went on and near its end, prom was coming up. I never had enough money for a prom dress, so I always turned down any offers to go, simply because I didn't want people to know I couldn't afford a dress, let alone the ticket to get in. My dress cost 40 quid. I was just like this 16-year-old scene girl, and I walked into Blue Banana. If you're not from the UK, it's like a gothic, emo-y alternative shop. I just walked in and was like, I need a prom dress, and they were like, oh my god, hello, I will help you. And I'm like, thanks. So I walked out in this, like, it's actually there, I can see my prom dress, like this beautiful rose 1950s dress. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked again. Between classes, when I had to walk through the cafeteria, I noticed that there was a younger boy who would always stare at me. His friends would pat his shoulder, and I read one of their lips as they told him to ask her. The group of boys just looking and smiling, except for the nervous one simply staring at me. I would look away to the floor and grip my textbooks closer to my chest, walking down another hallway. Anyway, I kept finding ways to sort of get past him without him noticing. Now I know this sounds mean, but I didn't know him, I couldn't afford it, and I also felt like he was dark inside. It was like every time I saw him, all I saw was a grey smoke around him, and there was a really uneasy feeling about it. Anyway, prom happened and I lived right down the street from the high school, so I could hear the music and see all the kids driving down the road and walking to the school in their new clothes. As I sat there looking at the lights and the kids, I decided it was stupid and just watched the event happen without me, so I made myself go to sleep. A week or so after prom, I heard other kids in school talking about something, almost whispering. Apparently the boy who wanted to ask me out to prom, he ended up asking another girl from another school. She said yes, but when he showed up to the house, her dad didn't like him and said she shouldn't go with him. The boy then told the girl he couldn't go to prom with her because something had come up and that he wouldn't be going to prom with her. The father and the boy talked about it, and the father said that if he paid a portion of her dress, then they could go. The kid went back to the house and cut the screen to the back door with a knife. He then unlocked it. Well, that escalated quickly. Her father woke up and asked him what he was doing there. The boy said, I came to see you die. Before charging at the father with a knife and a shovel, he managed to stab her dad 7 times. The parents got the kid and he was arrested and released on a 10k bond. The rest is history. So that's my prom night story. Oh yeah, the dad didn't survive, which was great, but yeah, I guess the title is more so the prom night and attempted murder. Oh, sorry, the dad did survive. I read that and I was like, are you being sarcastic? No, the dad survived. Well then, that was all like, oh yes, it's asking her out, said he could go with her if he brought some of her dress, and then BAM! It goes into kill mode, and I'm just like, what? Anyway, so that's our first story, Silent Prom Night Killer. This one was by Kate the Girl Who Dreams on Reddit. This one's a long one, and it's called Midnight Knocking. I'll try and avoid it as much as possible, but the story might occasionally jump around because of so much unpacked. So I'm sorry in advance if anything is confusing. My name is Lily, I'm 20 years old, and I live with my boyfriend Ben and our 3 cats. We live in a 2-bed/2-bath apartment on the 3rd floor, right next to the stairs, and can very easily hear anyone walking up or entering the apartment around us. Our room is right beside the door, and the window looks out to the wooden staircase/deck area. A little background/context, whatever you want to call it. A little less than a year ago, I had a stalker. I met him on a popular BDSM site. I made it very clear to him from the beginning that I wasn't interested in anything serious, strictly friends with benefits type of relationship. He was a little odd and admitted to me he had autism, but I didn't care. I had plenty of friends growing up, and certainly who were on the spectrum and are still functioning members of society, as most are. I hung out with him frequently because of the sex, but also because I was 19 and he would buy me booze with my money. See, I know some places in America, like some states, can't drink till you're 25, and here in the UK, as soon as you turn 18, you can literally buy alcohol, drink alcohol, alcohol, going to clubs and everything. So if I lived in America and I couldn't do anything until like 21, 25, I'd be like, nah mate, 18 in the UK. I started distancing myself from him when he began talking about his severe mental illnesses, specifically his predisposition to schizophrenia. I told him he needed to seek medical attention if he thought something was wrong and tried supporting him. I tried backing away completely when he admitted to me he had dreams of murdering me, my dogs murdering him, and him having flashbacks to Auschwitz, where he killed children in his past. Auschwitz, the concentration camp. I can't say it, can't pronounce it. I immediately cut contact with him, but made sure he recorded calls and voicemails. I had 2 jobs at the time, retail and food. When talking to my retail co-workers about him, many knew him and said his behaviour was not new. Ben and I had just begun seeing each other at this point, but he as well as my parents strongly encouraged if I file a restraining order. I told them I would think about it over, but it was still solidified when I showed up to my place of work to get food. I hid in the back of the restaurant and told my shift leader I couldn't go up there again until he was gone. I could tell he was sceptical, but said it was fine as long as I stayed busy in the back. I called Ben while back there to inform him of what was going on, and after hanging up to resume my job. Ben showed up minutes after and made it very clear to my stalker that I didn't want to see him, but did not threaten the man. The boss later told me that while making my stalker's meal, he looked 2 co-workers in the eye and said, I know Lily is back there hiding from me. My uncle is a retired lawyer and therefore helped me take proper action against him. My stalker's lawyer and my uncle worked together frequently before my uncle retired, and struck a deal with my attorney and uncle that he would put the fear of God in him. After all this, I have yet to see him again. Returning to the original story, Ben and I are both night owls and are pretty antisocial. It was around 11:30 p.m. and Ben and I were chatting quietly with the lights off in our room. There was a natural lull in our conversation when we were both on our phone, and there was a knock at the door and the tune of a shave and haircut. We both froze instantly and stayed silent. There were a few more seconds of silence, then the knock repeated. This pattern counted for about 5 minutes before I started freaking out silently to Ben beside me. Somebody knocked my door at that time at night repeatedly. I'd just call the police. Yeah, that's just my opinion. We were both stark nude and were expecting no one. Ben and I quietly walked out of our room and to the door, looking out the pee hole, and saw no one. Still freaking out, we walked to the kitchen and both grabbed steak knives to give ourselves some semblance of feeling of safe. When attempting to go back to our room, the knock happened twice more and Ben ordered me to the bedroom. I hid just out of sight in case things got ugly and I needed to surprise attack whoever this was. He looked out the pee hole again, and before I could whisper if he saw anyone, he flung the door open and walked onto the balcony, still naked. I hissed at him to get back inside, and he did that before locking the door again. He said no one was there and proceeded to lock us and the cats in the room for the night. We really hope it was a case of someone having the wrong apartment. When telling my friends, they were pissed and I hadn't called the police. Then it was very well could have been the attempted burglary of what little valuables we own. Small side note, my 9-year-old sister lives with our grandmother in the same complex building but different apartment. I pushed and asked if she had attempted pranking us, ready to tear her a new one about how she could have been hurt. She very heavily insisted she didn't because she had to be up early the next day for summer camp trip. Whoever knocked on our door at nearly midnight for all of our safety, let's not me. The final story is the creepy man who tracked me down and waited outside my school. So this is my first post here, and it's long but scary experience from 15 years ago. So anyway, I'm not from the US, I'm from a similar country, and when I was 14 I got a missed call off a number I didn't recognise one day. Being 14, I never called anyone, only text, so I asked this number who it was, etc. The reply I got was that they had called the wrong number by mistake, no big deal, except they started to try to text me things like how are you, etc. I was naive and played along when I was bored. I made up a fake name and even sent him a fake photo of some random girl off the internet just because he bugged me so much and I didn't want him to know me, because stranger danger and all that, but told him I was 14. He never called me again and I had no interaction on calling him, so we just texted and there he told me he was 17. He was very intense in terms of telling me how I was too nice for him and he was so lucky to text me. I was never the mushy type and it always seemed like a cheesy film scene when he went on like this, but it was very pleasant and I could get up to 100 messages a day and I might reply to 20 of them. I see no reason to be worried until one day I told my friend about this guy I was texting and we decided to prank call him, and this guy answered who sounded at least my dad's age. We freaked out and I stopped texting. He figured out it was me who called him because of my sudden ghosting. He put 2 and 2 together. To this day I don't know how. It's not like today we are tracking it somewhere easier, especially since I gave this guy a fake name and my phone number wasn't attached to any of my social medias back then. I told him the part of the country I lived in but not what town or any of the details like that. He kept calling me and of course I ignored him. Then one day in school, me and the friend that prank called him got several messages. When she prank called him, we forgot to put her number on private, and missed calls asking us where we were. Did we like him, telling her to tell me to come and meet him, and it was intense. She obviously freaked out as much as I did. Then even more so, when he sent us both a picture of our school, we freaked out. There's 6 schools in our town. How we got the right one, I'll never know. Creepy. We stayed after school to study in fear he was outside. My maths teacher was a family friend, and I waited for her to come around to ask for a ride home for her. We went to my house and turned on our phones to a crazy amount of messages, all saying he would meet me one day and he loved me. He told us he travelled 4 hours and couldn't understand why we didn't come out to say hi. How did he find out what school she went to? Oh man, this is creepy. I was petrified to tell my mother, so we decided to ditch our phone numbers, get new phone numbers, and never utter a word about it again. For the next few weeks, I lived in a world of constant fear and anxiety. I couldn't walk alone, even though I knew I was probably possible for him to know who I really was. But in the end, I told my mother and went to the police because I knew this guy had bad intentions. The phone number I had for him was a burner phone. Basically, that's what it's called in the US. It had no details attached to it, and possible to really look into any further. Nonetheless, we made a statement, and that was that. So yeah, man pretended to be a 17-year-old boy who drove 4 hours to meet a 14-year-old girl. Let's never ever meet. Why would you just text a random number anyway? I guess if it was just funny, then still. Anyway, that's the 3 stories for today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and if you've got any stories yourself that you want to submit for me to make a video on, feel free. You can either put it in the comments, or you can send me the link if it's on Reddit or something, and I'll obviously credit you in the video. This one's the half-blood penguin, and the last one was Lilith vaulting. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. And thanks again for watching, and if you liked this video, and if you like stories, especially the Let's Not Meet Reddit, I will be doing other stories on scared shitless and creepypastas because I love all of that. But subscribe just to see all of those videos, and thanks again for watching. Bye.